And we're live, yo. I mean, look at it. I
What?
interrupted your lunch because we got
Well,
breaking. Go ahead.
oh no, I know why you are interrupting my lunch, and it's fine because, like you were saying,
It's breaking news, y'all.
hell yeah, it
Cannabis
is.
has just been taken off of Schedule 1 and rescheduled to Schedule 3. So we're out here on the Canna Kuyas where we cultivate conversations about cannabis and creativity. But today we are going to discuss the ramifications and or questions we have with this new classification for cannabis, this plant that we love. Because I'm gonna be fully honest with you, man. My first reaction to this was I wanted it to be descheduled. I wanted them to
Just taking
remove
off the
this
list
plant.
altogether.
Yes, remove this plant from the drug enforcement agency scheduling altogether. Period. Because what Schedule 3 means is it has more questions than it has answers for me. Because
What
go
are the
ahead.
other drugs that are on Schedule 3?
Well, Schedule 3 basically classifies it as it has to be regulated and approved by the FDA, and it is regulated by a pharmacist and or medical doctor. So
Okay,
basically, what it's basically saying is, if you have a medical program in your state, sign up for that medical program so you're legally allowed to carry and grow and do whatever you need to do. Because it also pushes me between the article that I sent you this morning about how they're spraying artificial
yeah.
terps on weed that had mold on it and trying to pass it back through the tests and all the different dispensary stuff that they're trying to do with all this weed that they have left over because it's surplus. Like I'm I'm growing my own for this foreseeable future, and I'm not even trying to buy at the dispo anymore.
So yeah, I'm looking up Schedule 3 definitions, and it says Schedule 3 drugs, substances, or chemicals are defined as drugs with a moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence. So, Tylenol with codeine, ketamine, anabolic steroids, testosterone. So yeah, it's like a medical drug now.
Right.
Or
So
yeah,
if you have your prescriptions or you have your medical license, which I do, because I renewed my license because of growing. So I wanted to make sure that I was fully legal and cool to grow, and for my landlord, and just because I don't own my house, so I just wanted to be sure that everything was kind of all the T's and I's were dotted and all that shit. But in as far as like now, I'm wondering what it means for traveling. Like, can I have my medical license with me and I can carry my prescribed medicine with me wherever I go now? What does that mean?
well, I think that it's still not legal federally. That it doesn't make it legal federally. You know,
No, that's what
like
it does. Because now it's like Tylenol. It's an FDA. If it's approved by the FDA, then it's you said it's like Tylenol and anabolic steroids. So it has to be prescribed or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it's legal. If it's Schedule 3, I'm just that's the question. Is it?
but that's why no, I don't think it's like it's going to be like across the board it's going to be accepted. It's not like yeah, it's a very specific case. Like um I mean, potentially yeah, you could travel with it, but you might get hassled in places where it's not legal like in the state.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, because it's still not. But that's I think that's the question that the DEA has to clarify now. So does that mean that cannabis is now Schedule 3? That means you can travel with it and cross state borders like you would as if you were using a prescription drug like insulin? Is that what we're talking about here? Because that's basically when you read the description of Schedule 3, a prescribed drug. So I'm just asking. I'm asking you. What do you think?
I don't think it's gonna be like legal. Like I think in terms of like how you have it or like or having it is not gonna be a problem, right? But I don't know about travel. Like I don't see like travel just like accepting it like outright. You know what I mean? Like there's still gonna be like this is like the first step, in terms of like how
baby steps.
Yeah, it's baby steps. It's not gonna be like revolutionary change. This isn't like it is a big step and it's a bit, it is news, but it's not like a revolutionary thing where like tomorrow I'd be like, okay, I want to go to a place like a place where it's never been legal and then like just go there and like purchase and consume and whatever. Like it's not gonna that's not gonna pan out, like
right. And I also think that it has to be baby steps in a country this big yes, the majority of states have made it either medically legal or recreationally legal, but there are still some states that they're looking at it as Schedule 1, and that's where the questions come up: is what happens to those states that are looking at it still as Schedule 1 now that the federal government looks at it as Schedule 3?
Yeah, well,
that's
for sure.
That's why descheduling it and just taking it off the schedule would have been better, and it would have answered more questions because
I think so. Like, I think if you're thinking about it in your term, like descheduling would be like just legalizing it, and like it's no problem. Like it's just accepted at every level.
Acknowledging it and acknowledging all of its uses and all of its everything as a plant, and letting it just be as it is, and that's what would make me that would set me more at ease, because now I'm worried about my own grow. What does Schedule 3 mean for people who grow their own, or does it mean now if you're an everyday smoker, now here's your clarion call to say, yo, you got to grow your own, because that's
I think
kind
it's
of
more
where
along
I'm
those lines. It's like
between the big tobacco dispos and this descheduling or rescheduling or whatever we're talking about here. All it says to me is grow your own.
And I think also, okay, so I think one of the things that's going to happen for sure is the way that they're going to classify its medicinal use. Because in order to get a medical license in the state of California, can we say that you could straight up just purchase it? You could just buy it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You basically purchase your license. It's like a fishing license at this point.
Okay.
I mean, that's
because I remember,
and I'm fine with that. If I have to register and the government has to know that I grow my own or that I'm a medical patient, okay, so what? It doesn't take away from me growing my own or anything like that. So I'm not worried about any of that stuff.
Oh, no, because I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, like the people who are actual like patients versus people that are just like like for the most part growing, like they're pretty much like blending. I feel like it's just gonna be one and the same now. Like,
and in order to sell it, you're going to have to pass some tests federally. Like in order to sell a large quantities and make a bunch of money, you're going to have to go through the FDA.
Yeah, no, but that's different than like, consuming for medical purposes, like, because then you're like, at that point you're growing for commercial use. Yeah. Like,
right. But also, I follow a lady named Riley who does the Bioactive podcast and talks about the science benefits of cannabis and the science, the scientific reactions and endocannabinoid system and all the different things. And what she talked about was the idea that it's going to open up fields of research, because now it's basically you can research this plant the same way you would any other drug that would be prescribed, and go through the FDA screening, which is kind of incredible because when you think about all the different discoveries that Israel and all the other international discoveries that have been made all over the world, and now America has, and all the American scientists and American universities are able to and open to, study the plant and its benefits. I think that's pretty awesome.
There was a video going around the other day. It was about they were able to isolate specific markers for terpenes, or like for smell, like why it's there. It's like whether it's like citrusy or it's gassy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's the compound.
I think I might have sent you that video because of the terpenes and how to break it down and all the different tastes and how it. Yes, I mean it's and we're just scratching the surface, man.
Yeah, that was barely discovered, and then because I know that we talk about the endocannabinoid system a lot. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that word, but like
it's all good, bro.
We talk about that, and I started going down a rabbit hole. I'm just doing my own research on it, and there's a lot about it that we do not understand, and it was just it's heavily researched, but they still are discovering new things. It's like
and the people who are doing research were never federally funded, and they never had. I mean, let's just be real, man. American money is American money, and if you have American scientific research dollars behind breaking down every cannabinoid and terpene on the cannabis plant and all its genetic variances, I mean that's a pretty incredible breakthrough. And who knows what breakthroughs will come of this? You know what I'm saying? So even in this baby step, I think there's still some good from it.
Yeah, no, because if they can start to actually examine things and break stuff down, they'll be able to the level of breeding or how they make a weed strain or whatever you want to call it. They
genetics,
can get down to the nitty gritty. Yeah, they can get down to it's like I want it to do this, this, and this. Just the specificity of it all.
And there are some breeders who are already breaking it down to the genetics and to the genes and splicing genes, because there's already triploid genetics where you can even buy them and plant them now. With Humboldt Seed Company offers us a triploid, which is like an extra chromosome or something. I can't even begin to explain it. But they're already working in genetics within the cannabis industry. So now when you include the scientific community, I mean, the possibilities are endless. So that part of it, I think, is very cool. But I wanted to read that quote. Do you want to read that quote, or do you want me to read it? I'm down to practice my cold reading too. I'm down.
You can read it because I don't know which quote you're talking about.
Okay, no. So this is from Normal, because Normal is a organization that's an advocacy for it's a plant. This is a normal plant that should be used, and it's great. It's a good follow on Instagram. Definitely a lot of information. So this is from normal.org. Normal is spelled NORML.org. So just in case you guys want to go to that website. But this quote, it really kind of encapsulates today's events. The goal of any federal cannabis policy reform ought to be to addressing. I'm sorry. Let me start over. Hold on. Thank you. Because I smoked some Gelato 33 before I did this, so I didn't expect. I had my audition at 5 a.m. in the morning with my wife. I did do a cold reading today. It was awesome. I auditioned for a show. So, okay. Anyway.
Read the damn quote, Eric.
Yes. Let me go. Okay, we got to eat up some time too. We're still podcasting. Okay, so the goal of any federal cannabis policy reform ought to be to address the existing untenable divide between federal marijuana policy and the cannabis laws of the majority of U.S. states. He said, rescheduling the cannabis plant to Schedule 3 fails to adequately address this conflict, as existing states' legalization laws, both adult use and medical, will continue to be in conflict with federal regulations, thereby perpetuating the existing divide between state and federal marijuana policies. So there's still, because it's Schedule 3, and there's some states that have made it already recreational and have basically descheduled it in their state, in accordance with their state laws. It's still in conflict. Like states like California, Colorado, Nevada. I don't know if fuck you say it. But speaking of which, you're going to be in Vegas. You're going to be in Vegas next weekend, aren't you?
I think so. Yeah, I'm going to be there. Right?
Next weekend, we're going to be at the Long Beach Filipino Festival.
Oh yeah!
Shout out! It's like Coachella for Filipinos at Long Beach. And there's so many. I don't even want to name all the headliners, but we're going to be there, and we're going to have a booth where you can answer questions. And I thought about this. So people who are guests and fans of the podcast can come and ask questions of us, and then you might be featured on the podcast with your question. I'm just, you never know. We might put you on the podcast. So you come visit us at the Long Beach Filipino Festival on May 4th from like 11 till 7. We're going to be there all day. So Mitch will be there. I'll be there. I'm going to be hosting, and I'll be on stage. And then Mitch is going to be at the booth, and we're going to be there, meet and greet, talking to y'all, and want to talk. And I know that's kind of like divergent from what we were talking about before, but it just kind of came up, and I thought we should bring it up that we're going to be at Long Beach, and we could talk about this. We could talk about how you feel about the descheduling, or not. It's not descheduling. I keep saying the rescheduling. What I want is descheduling, but we rescheduled cannabis from a Schedule 1 plant like cocaine and heroin, and now it is a Schedule 3 plant, which is prescription and has to be regulated by the FDA. And so I have a question for you, Mitch. What do you think is going to happen with Instagram? Because you know how they're always, with social networking, and how they are, like even there's some cats on YouTube that go on YouTube, and they don't even want to say the word cannabis because they're scared they're going to get flagged or age restricted. I put all of our videos and all of our podcasts as 18 or over anyway, we're not trying to monetize. We're trying to talk about this plan and enjoy and figure stuff out. So at the end of the day, I'm not trying to censor myself. We've never tried to censor ourselves, but there are a lot of folks on Instagram, even our posts, when I post pictures of the food, are always flagged or that's part of the reason why on our Instagram at Canna Kuya Grow, plug, it says nothing is for sale, NFS, nothing for sale, because we're not trying to sell anything. We're not trying to, unless you want to buy a Canna Kuya t-shirt or a Canna Kuya hat. But anyway, but what do you think is going to happen with Instagram?
The logo? Are we touching the logo?
Yeah, you are. You're touching it. But what do you think is going to happen? I'm interested in your opinion as far as, do you think that the social networking gods will allow us, the algorithm gods will allow us more audience?
No, I don't think so, because I think it's going to just get treated like alcohol. You'll probably see like ads for like weed services soon, like on TV.
Already
but
do.
Then, like,
if you got enough money, you can advertise on those social networks.
Yeah,
I've seen weed
but
commercials
I feel it's going to be
YouTube
like alcohol
after videos that were flagged about weed. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. But that's part of it. That's why I think it might. Go ahead.
Oh no! Like, I just think it's gonna, you'll see it more. It'll be more prevalent, but I don't think there's gonna be a huge rush to like glamorize it and make it like cooler than it actually is or whatever. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be like a trendy thing. Like if it becomes a trendy thing, like I'll be very disappointed. I don't mind people talking about it. Like, like if you had like a regular gardening video, like, oh, here, this is me growing tomatoes, like watch the journey, like I wouldn't mind that. Like there's value in that. I just don't want to see like tons of videos with people just like, like doing stupid stuff with it, like, it's like, have you ever seen like, when people use like leaf blowers and whatnot? Like you know,
But dude, that's the kind of the thing about the social networks, though. You know, you're gonna have your quality, and you're gonna have your Tide Pods and leaf blowers and all the other. You know, there's stupid people out there doing stupid shit. You know, and but I feel like I that's my hope. If for nothing else, that rescheduling it to Schedule 3 and it being something where people are in a lot of ways, if you put it in the context of a Schedule 3 prescribed medicine, people are talking about and you know, cultivating their medicine. So if you look at it from that standpoint, I've never understood why there's been a flag on any of the social networks when it comes to Facebook or Meta or Instagram. I mean, they're all owned by the same person, but TikTok's the same way. You can't post any. They won't even let you post it on if the algorithm analyzes and sees that you're posting something either smoking and or cannabis on TikTok. They won't even allow the video to post. So. Yeah, but I know you're not on TikTok, and I'm probably not going to be on TikTok for too much longer. We'll see what happens. I'm not really sure. But you can follow me on all of them right here. Huh?
You got banned, didn't it? Is that what the deal was for TikTok?
Well, it has a year to change ownership because right now it's owned in subsidiary to the Chinese government, and so there's been some. But at the same time, do you want to know what social networking sites are banned in China?
What?
Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Instagram, all those. I mean, they ban all those apps. There's only, and guess what else is banned in TikTok in China? TikTok. Ironically enough,
the banned itself.
So the U.S. government is banning TikTok, but TikTok is already banned in China by the Chinese government. So it's a clusterfuck. So, but whatever, all that is a clusterfuck too. I mean, it's all. I think at the end of the day, most of this stuff, all these changes that are coming, whether it's the rescheduling of cannabis or banning TikTok or selling of TikTok or whatever it is, it's all baby steps of control, unfortunately, into industries that they didn't have control over before and didn't regulate before, and now they're trying to regulate and in a lot of ways profit from, because it's not, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm a pragmatist. This is how they do it, baby steps, until you control the whole industry, which is why you got to grow your own, guys.
So how are your plants doing? Like, what's going on with your plants?
So so we're doing a grow update now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I'm so excited about this grow. This third round, or no, second round. Yeah, because the monster clones that we just grew out that didn't yield very much, those were my first round of clones from the original Gelato 33. But this now are my second round of clones, because I heard from this guy named Chad Westport, who's a grower that I watch and follow online. He talked about how you should grow out your monster clones and veg them out, but then clone those. And those are the clones that you should take to grow out, because you shouldn't grow out a monster clone and then grow it out, because it's going to grow freaky and weird sometimes, and you can't predict what
you're kind of freaky we're talking about, Eric. What kind of freaky are you talking about?
No, we're talking about the monster clones that I had, the first round of clones from the Gelato 33, and how they kind of turned out where it was only like 60 grams from 5 plants versus the one plant got 78 grams. So there was something in there that we missed fertilizers and made a lot of mistakes. But at the end of the day, they were grown out from a monster clone. And a lot of people say that what you should do if you needed the monster clone, because a monster clone is when you've trying to clone it when it's already flowering. So you're almost trying to turn a bud and you're re-vegging it. You're trying to veg it back into a regular, just leaves. And so when it is re-veg, some of those leaves grow out freaky. and funky. And in a lot of ways, they say that the plant in and of itself is kind of a freak. So until you get a regular leaf and stem and strong piece of the genetic that has finally gone back and you've recovered it fully re-vegged, you're really not supposed to. You're supposed to clone that and then grow out from that. So right now I have one monster clone that's still alive from the gelato of this round, and we'll see. I'll grow it out and then maybe clone from that and do another round of gelato because I want to keep this because it's damn good weed. You
should tell them about your cheese that you made, or what was it? It was like a fertilizer for your plant, or like a super vitamin.
That lactobacillic acid. Yeah, no, I kind of went back to this is a natural farming or organic practice that I did and I've been doing with all my plants. It's you take rice water and you put it in a jar, cover it with a paper towel so it can still breathe, so it's breathable. Okay, and just put your rice water, and the rice water after when you rinse and kind of wash the rice, so it's like the white that first wash, not the third wash, because I know some Filipinos out there be washing their rice until it's clear water, but I'm just that first wash of rice.
Hold on. Can I interrupt you real quick because, okay, I know that. My wife sent me this thing, right? It was a health article, and it said that if you leave white rice out, right, and it just sits there, something about the bacteria makes you sick if you eat it or reheat it later on, right? And I was
room temperature rice, you never want to do that. Yeah, no, but this is different. Okay.
What do you mean room temperature rice? Hold on. What do you You don't reheat your rice?
Let rice sit out. She's right. The bacteria grows on rice really fast because bacteria likes the starch from rice, which is why you're using the rice water because you're building and what I'm doing in this process is you're creating bacteria, but it's good local bacteria. Most bacteria isn't bad, bro, because we have bacteria in our guts. It all depends on the amount and the ratio. So if you have the amount of good bacteria in your gut, any amount of bad bacteria is almost going to be superseded anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
no, the way I was thinking, I was like, I don't know. I've eaten rice that's been out, it's out in the day, in the summertime, and I've reheated it, and I've never had a problem. My entire life, I've never had a problem. Right? Knock on wood or whatever. But then I was also I think it's because Filipinos wash their rice. They get rid of a lot of that. That's what they do. They get it out, and then it's not as bad.
Well, see, and a lot of that has to do with, my dad's a germaphobe. I don't know about your parents, but I know that my family, a lot of them are germaphobes. So they want to wash everything and bacteria and the whole thing. And being real, since I've been growing and understanding the microorganisms even in our own bodies, I'm not as germophobic anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? Because some of these bacteria, some of these microorganisms that you're trying to wash out with the bleach and rinse out with the multiple washes are microorganisms that you need in your body because it's part of the earth. Just in the same way when a plant thrives and it has local bacteria, which is what I'm trying to cultivate here in the jar, right? Mm-hmm. With the rice water, it just like the plant thrives with local bacteria, your body also thrives. Because think about it, if you're breathing in air that has bacteria in it, it's everything does, right? It's microscopic. If you're breathing in the air and in your body, now you're internalizing those local bacteria. So now that even when food is ingested into your body, you're internalizing your environment almost. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's a little deep, but yeah. So for this, you're trying to create that local bacteria. So you get that rice water and you let it sit for depending on the temperature of your environment. So like for California, you can let it sit for like 2 days and it's already going to have a little sweet smell. Once you get that sweet smell, it's ready. Just take a little, like, so if this is the jar, right? Okay, this is the jar. You only really need to put this much, a tenth of rice water. Once it starts that sweet smell, you put a tenth of that. And then you fill the rest up with milk. 2% whole milk, whatever you want. But 2% or whole milk is better because then there's more fat for the microorganism to bond with because you're making cheese basically. And so all that milk is going to turn and curdle for the next 3 to 5 days into cheese. And it's going to be like on the top of your jar. I'm so glad I have this water glass here. It makes it so the visual help. But then the bottom of the water is going to turn, it's going to be like yellow. So this white portion is going to still stay white and it's going to be like cheese. It's going to solidify in like 3 to 5 days. And then that bottom portion is what you want to, like, you'll put like a tablespoon in and mix it with a gallon of water. And then that's what you water your plants with. And that gives them the local bacteria that they need to interact with the nutrients in the soil. And it makes your plants, bro, everything in my garden, I sprayed lactobacillic acid and everything in my garden up to and including the peach tree out front. And bro, everything's like blooming and like reaching up for the sky. And like, it's really incredible how you, like, once you give them those microorganisms and all that shit I'm only scratching the surface and being very, but the benefit to your garden when you're growing is fucking crazy. Like you can visually see the shit going like, oh, wow, what the fuck is this? It's nuts. But that said, I did that with they're now week 6 of flower. And bro, the difference from the last grow to this and how they've stretched and how the buds and bulbs, and you can see a picture of them on Canna Kuya Grow on Instagram, but the way the fucking buds are like bulbing and bulging out, so different. They look like the mother plant. They don't look like the monster clones. They look like the mother plant. So I'm very interested to see what ends up happening in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, that's the grow update for now. I mean, and I got an autoflower in the other tent, which is about to be harvested probably next week. So we'll be able to sample the wedding cake from Equilibrium Genetics. We can sample that next time you come over.
It's not getting
bro. See, look at that. We've been. You wanted to have more episodes with just me and you talking about issues in cannabis, and look at this, man. This is a great episode where we're talking about the big news in cannabis, descheduling or rescheduling. I keep making that mistake because descheduling is what I want, but cannabis has been rescheduled from Schedule 1, so it's not like cocaine and heroin anymore. Now it is Schedule 3, and we've been here at the Canna Kuya Podcast talking about it and figuring it out, and our reactions and questions from it. And what do you think, Mitch? What else? What other questions do you have about today's events or whatever we talked about today? What just to kind of like sum up the podcast.
Oh no, it's just like it's the perspective towards cannabis is really shifting. It's been shifting for years, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm still of that train of thought where, like I do it, but it's kind of like it's very on the low. It's on the low. Like it's very low key. Like I still haven't told my family. Yeah, and then even if it's legal, I still don't, like, people don't need to know outright. Like they'll see me doing it and like, yeah, that's what. But you're not gonna, like, I don't know. It's my little secret still, like it's always been like that's how I have always felt about weed. Like it's my body, my choice.
This fool. Well, I have become more public about it because I feel like I've become an advocate for it, because I'm growing, but also because, I mean, like, I'm pushing to get the mayor of Burbank to talk about how we got 17 gun shops and not a one cannabis shop here in Burbank. I really want to get political with this and become an advocate in a way where they know about this podcast, they know about us, and they know about me being, an advocate for this plant because it's my medicine and it makes my brain move right. So I'm down to be, seriously, man. I'm excited about this because I feel like some aspects of this are going to open it up to destigmatize it, so that you don't have to be as hidden about it anymore. Because I don't think that, I think those feelings that you have about, yes, it can still be your little secret because it's yours, it's you. That's just however you consume it is how you consume it. But at the same time, I feel like the idea that more people are going to have it as a little secret is going to be more accessible and, a little bit more destigmatized. And then it's also a trip because when we talked about the history of it, and how it only took a few years of propaganda to really make this plant scary after thousands of years of use. It's a trip when you think about how, like, even the colonial people, the people who signed contracts to come here as indentured servants were required to grow hemp because it was such a useful plant for them to use to create so many different textiles and different things. And it's not even just the smoking part of it, but it's a really interesting thing to see how far we've come in the past, I guess, 100 years, because you're talking about the Harry Aslinger quote was in 1937 and we're now in 2024. So it's almost 100 years. So that's a trip. Now
because I think we're going to get to the point, because you know how, like, you talk about politics and how everything's changing. There's going to be a point where a politician is going to have to recognize it's like, hey, we need the weed vote. We need the cannabis user vote. Like, it's going to get to that point,
And bro, it's already there because they projected 100 million users in America. Okay. So you want to talk about a constituency of people that even if a small percentage of those people are voting, because let's be real, so there's a lot of potheads that don't vote. I know a lot of potheads that don't vote, but there are some that do, and that constituency of politically minded potheads, you can accomplish a lot if you involve grants, scientific grants, all the different, now I would think, and hopefully would think, monies and opportunities are now open to this plant because of the rescheduling of it. But I hope this is just a baby step to the eventual descheduling of this plant. That's my hope.
Take it off the books.
Take it off the books. It's just a plant. That's all I'm going to say. But I guess that's all I'm going to say because we're coming up on 40 minutes anyway. So let's wrap this up. Yeah. What do you think?
So, everybody, you've been listening to the Canna Kuya Podcast, where we are cultivating.
Wait, before you do that whole end part, wait. I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt you, but we got to plug who are we going to be at the Long Beach this weekend. We're going to be at the Long Beach. So go ahead. You talk about it, and then I'll talk about it, and we'll just volley back and forth, and then we'll do the whole, you've been listening to the Canna Kuya, because we gotta plug that one more time, because we did that in the beginning. We gotta plug it at the end, because if people have been listening all the way till now, until the very end, and they've been listening all the way through, then they really probably do want to come out to Long Beach and come and hang out with us and podcast with us and possibly get a question showcased on the podcast. So, Mitch just went dark. Oh, but I wanted to also compliment you on your background. That shit is fire. It's like a tie-dye shirt background. It's pretty fire, Mitch.
But guys, we're going to be at the Long Beach Filipino Festival. We'll be hanging out all day. Take your gout medicine because you're going to be eating. Hydrate. Bring your water jugs and your water bottles. Come support Filipino artists, businesses, just come be Filipino with me and Eric.
And also come because we'll have these available. We'll have the Canna Kuya Podcast merch available. We'll also have Miscellaneous Brown, my comedy special merch available, and we'll also be there, meet and greet, hang out, and be chilling at the Long Beach Film Festival, the Long Beach Filipino Festival. Well, I'll be hosting, and like I said, man, it is a Coachella. Look them up on Instagram, Long Beach Filipino Festival. Follow them on Instagram for the whole lineup of headliners. I mean, it's a headliners, plural. A whole bunch of wonderful, awesome Filipino artists from traditional music to hip hop and R&B, all the way through up and down the lineup. Dancers, break dancers, all kinds of shit. It's going to be awesome, and we're going to have a great time. So come see us at the booth at the Long Beach Filipino Festival, the 1-2 Productions booth, and we'll be there hanging out. The Canna Kuyas will be there, and yeah, man. So I guess that's it, huh? This is the podcast. I got you're.
Can I do my sign off now? God damn it!
Yes, you can do the sign off. Let's do it.
So everyone, you've been listening to the Canna Kuya Podcast, where we are cultivating conversations concerning cannabis, culture, and creativity. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mitch Narito.
And I am Eric Esteban. Y'all, everybody stay lifted.
Stay elevated, everyone.
Peace, y'all.